Hey, all you HQDs and survivalists. I'm Mary Kwiatkowski, and I am back with another episode of Fox's new reality TV show, Extracted, here for episode 4. As always, with me, coming at you from the darkest timeline, it's Chappell.
Ah,
Chappell, we
ah,
saw this coming.
ah, whoa, ah, you know, I'll give Extracted this. It's never predictable to me. I think that every time you think you figure out how the show is going, like barring the next time on Extracted portions, anybody can go for any reason, and I
Yeah.
think we saw that today. Like you said, darkest timeline. The queen has fallen. The princess has fallen, and Eric fell too.
Was this enough for Eric to join the Diaz Twine dynasty, as he called it?
This could potentially springboard him into other reality show ventures, but I don't know. They might be trying to leave this outing in the past. I know if I was him, I would not like to be in that household right now because just imagine like winner of the anonymous, winner of Survivor twice, Survivor All Stars, both of them, and they're like, you couldn't even last 9 days in the wilderness. Like, oh my god, I would be so ashamed. Ugh.
Okay, I'm about to reveal something
Do it.
that I feel ashamed about.
Okay.
This was actually the first time I have watched Nina on a show.
Really?
I have not watched Australian Survivor, and I feel like I don't know what I was picturing from Nina, but just watching her on this show, I was like, wow, I should really go watch her on other stuff because she's great.
Yeah. She's dope. She comes from a dope lineage. We know that Sandra is the queen. And yeah, I've seen Nina on I think all the other shows she's done. 2 seasons of Australian Survivor and the Anonymous as well. And so yeah, very happy to see her here, but very sad to see them go. Yeah, Eric will not be the next winner in this dynasty quite yet, but it was
What
fun
show
having
did
him
you
while it
see him
lasted.
on if he was going to be on another show?
I don't know, because it's definitely not something outside. Like I want him inside.
No,
I don't know if
I
he's like
could
an
see him on
athletic
like the
guy.
challenge
Yeah,
potentially.
yeah, something like like a head-to-head competition show or something like that.
Yeah.
Fear Factor's out now. I don't know if he's anti like bugs and eating gross stuff, but I know he's down Fear Factor. But yeah, maybe not the Traders. I don't know if he would be like a good like I can see Nina on the Traders for sure. But I don't
Yeah.
know if Eric would be good for that. But I don't know. We didn't get to spend a lot of time with him because I mean we haven't said it out loud, but Eric got extracted.
He did. Eric got extracted. This was the foreshadowing from last episode of the wow, I thought he was going to be here till the end. And we were
Mhm.
like, oh no,
Oh
there's only a
no.
few people that could be. Yeah, so here we are. We will say up front, it's Rob as a podcast. This is a Survivor podcast. We did do an exit interview with Team Diaz Twine. And so that will be coming out soon, a day or so after this probably. And so make sure that you are all tuned into the Rob as a Podcast YouTube channel and WeKnowRealityTV.com in order to find that. It was a really fun chat. I would say just based on a few things, the video is worth it. So make sure you check out the video.
Yes.
There's some
Yes.
funny moments there. Nina and Sandra anxious to speak on a lot of topics. So definitely check that out. It was a really fun conversation.
Yeah, and they gave us a lot of insight into some of the stuff we obviously we didn't see in the show, about, seeing what it was like when Annalise is there and Sandra and Nina are there. Do they recognize her? Find that out and more on our exit interview. But it was a fun time. I was very happy, very excited, very nervous, Mary. I've never spoken to the queen before.
Same,
Yeah.
it's not often we get handed the keys to such a big big thing. So I was very excited for it, and I'm sure that you all enjoy listening to this. This episode was interesting. There was we got a survival trial. I'm
Mhm.
trying to remember from season 1. Did we have a teamed, like a paired up challenge in season 1? I know we had head to head and we had some where people could sort of
Mm.
communicate, but I don't remember if we had like a team challenge.
Me neither. I think I remember head to head though.
Yeah.
where it was, and then they did, like you said, they communicated. We saw some alliances forming when they were communicating in those moments, but I don't know if it was ever like the two of you are depending on each other to make it through this. And so that's kind of fun to be a, if not a new aspect of the show, but something that I think plays well on TV.
Definitely. Yeah, it was a cool episode, and a cool challenge doing that. And we can talk more at the end of the episode about maybe some other sort of types of things we might be seeing in the strategy in the next episode for episode 5. But to pick up where we left off episode 3 with a few people stranded in the woods at night. As of episode 3, we only saw Katie, Polly, and Amy make it back to their camps. But then, right at the beginning of this one, we also see that Summer and Roman have also apparently made it back, which
Mhm.
only leaves Doug, Eric, Luke, and RJ still out in the woods. So I don't know. When you saw that initially, were you thinking, "Oh shoot, they're going to be there all overnight," or did you think they would just keep trying to get back?
I think we talked about it, but we were kind of speculating, like, are any of them actually going to sleep on the ground under the
Yeah.
stars? What kind of timeline are they at? I think we left when we start this episode. It's 11:15, and I think by 2:45, they like are showing RJ and Doug sleeping on the ground and waking up around 6:45 a.m. So yeah, many of them definitely slept on the ground. But I have, I have questions. So Eric makes it
He makes
before
it
having to
back.
sleep on the ground. He makes it with 8% of the battery left. And then the rest of them sleep on the ground. But when they wake up the next day, Luke wakes up first, and it does look like Luke is like sleeping right outside of his camp. Like, he makes it in no time, where it looked like Doug and RJ actually had a little bit more of a trek. So I was questioning if Luke didn't make it back because he didn't want to make it back.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Um, well, I'm gonna need Luke or David or Daniel. Let us know in the comments. We see you in the comments. Let us know if Luke was actually there, because this is, what we hear from all this is the second Luke wakes up, he starts, we think, faking sort of an injury,
He
or at
said he was
least
faking.
playing up an
Or
injury.
well, yeah, they said he was faking. He could be. Maybe
Yes.
they're wrong. What if they're wrong, Mary?
That
What
would
if?
be wild if David and Daniel are wrong, because the way that the show is edited is so funny. Luke is like, "Oh, yeah, I fell down and I hit a log, and oh man, I hope my leg is okay." And he's like sort of hobbling around. And David and Daniel are just like, "I think he's faking it. Let's go to bed." And then they
Yeah,
leave and go to bed early. And meanwhile, everyone else is like, "What are they doing? What are they going to bed early?" So I want to know, like, how legit was that whole thing that went down? And that would be really funny if he, well, okay, it's not funny if he's injured, but it'd be funny if the brothers like thought that he was playing something up.
I love the brothers because they're playing so hard. But I think this is a little too far. Not so much of the faking the injury, because you and I both said you kind of have to present yourself as someone who needs stuff. You
Mhm.
don't want to look like you're so far out ahead. So him like sleeping under the stars and pretending to be hurt, I don't have an issue with that. But the brothers basically being like, he all right, let me go to sleep. It doesn't make any sense because everybody else is so concerned with their loved ones sleeping outside in the wilderness. They're like, wait, they haven't made it back yet. I can't go to sleep now. This is a very important night. We got to make sure they're okay. Meanwhile, they're like, all right, he's fine. His legs hurt, but whatever. We'll take it. We'll take it to bed now. It's like, I don't know if that feels authentic. So maybe they don't get caught. I just feel like it might be a little sloppy as far as gameplay is concerned.
Yeah, definitely could be a little sloppy. I think if you're going to do it, you need to commit to the whole thing. If you're going
Hmm.
to be playing up that he's injured, then you two need to be like, "Oh, we're glued to the camera all night because he's not
Hmm.
doing well." I think you can't exactly do both, because the going to bed early does make it seem like, "Oh, he's fine."
Yeah. If he's not fine, they're fine. And you were talking about it last episode. The people in HQ being so cavalier and feeling like they're doing good or presenting strength could be bad for you, because the people in HQ are going to be able to dictate some of their moves based off of the other people in HQ.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, meanwhile, we've got, Michaela and, Michaela and Tanisha, if you remember from the previous episode, had sort of a tiff between the sisters here, some tension, having to do with the challenge where they had to build and power up the battery, right? The
Mhm.
hand crank battery. And so Michaela's venting to Lindsay and Daniel about like the tension between herself and Tanisha. And I thought this was interesting because we haven't seen Michaela is, RJ's team like making alliances exactly, but it does seem like they're all like pretty comfortable talking about how things are going. Do you think we haven't talked about this as much? Is this a strategy at all, or could this be used as a strategy to play up the tension amongst your own team
Ooh.
to people so that they think you're not as strong? Is that something? Is there anything
I
there?
don't know. I don't know because I feel like if you do that, what if there is tension, right? Because there clearly some tension between Tanisha and Michaela, right? Like they're
Oh yeah.
siblings. They probably had fights like this before. Michaela was saying that she felt like Tanisha was just second guessing her all the time. And I've already told you that last episode, I would have acted like Tanisha, like don't talk crazy to me. So there's like two sides to this story for sure. But I feel like if you let people in that there's a crack, then what if people did start to exploit that crack a little bit? Like, what if it did get really tense between you and your loved one because, of like something so small, right? So I don't know if you want to present any type of weakness
Yeah.
at all inside of HQ, but you're right. The people who look really strong at HQ, they might be less, less of an option for somebody to help out. So I don't know. Maybe there's something
Like
there.
if we were there, you would be going up to Sandra and being like, "This guy will just not stop trying to get me to juggle. I just can't.
Yes.
I can't
Oh
with
my
him
God.
anymore."
Yeah. Like, what is it? And she's like, oh yeah, we're gonna use that. Like,
Yeah. I thought it was interesting, the last episode they definitely tried to make us think that like RJ might be quitting. Michaela had that line where she said, it's getting harder and harder to not push the button and stuff. And then this episode we see RJ say like, "Look, I need the love and support from you. I'm still fighting. When I'm ready to tap out, you'll know, but I'm not there yet." So at least
yeah.
we had that from him.
It's I don't like the way it's edited, it really felt like RJ could tell that his mom and aunt were having like a spat. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm still here. I just need love and support. I need motivation. Like this is a competition, but I'm still a person. I'm still
Well,
a human." Like I feel like it really like brings them back in together as a family.
Well, remember they had the letter that they could write with the battery, so maybe they wrote maybe, his mom was like, "Your
Get it
aunt
together.
just she ran out of the room, so we don't know how much battery is left in here." Maybe it was like that.
He was like, "Hey guys, next time you have a chance to write me a note, maybe
Maybe,
say,
like,
hey, we
I hope
love
you're all doing
you. You're doing
okay.
a great job." Right. Well, I think something very similar might have happened. I really think that Michaela probably wrote like, "Hey, you look like you're struggling. Get it together. This is not that hard. You can do this." Like maybe some motivational words. He's like, "Remember me? I just need a little soft parenting right now. Just a little love. Like I'm a competitor, but it'd be nice to know that y'all are rooting for me." That's definitely something I would have to write to my mom because my mom is
Yeah.
very business oriented. She's like, she would have been like, "All right, like here's what you're doing wrong. You should this, you should have this, you should have done this," and I'd have been like, "Thanks, comma, but I'm out here sleeping by myself. Say
Right.
something kind. Try
Yeah.
it." Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe some positivity,
Just a little bit. Just a little
Just a
bit.
little
But
bit.
yeah,
Just a little bit.
but that was so such a good moment where he just like talks to the camera. Because normally they're like, I'm not doing okay out here. But he's like, hey, family, remember me? RJ, the person, the human?
It was great. Then we get a montage of people eating the grouse, right? The bird that they all got. I, Summer is like really nervous. She didn't even want to touch it. Okay, this is the editing on this show. They were like, "Oh shoot, Eric's going home. We got to show as much Sandra and Nina as possible," because there was so much of them throughout this whole episode. Sandra's just like rolling her eyes and annoyed at Summer. And they are just. This is what I love. The two of them just like picking on Eric the whole time. Eric is like
Mhm.
plucking his the feathers off the bird like one at a time. And they're just like, "Your mom owns a chicken
She
plant. What are
works
we
at a
doing?"
chicken plant. Yeah, she works at a chicken plant. You know how to peel. You know chicken, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were good. Sandra even at one point was like, if he quits, he can't get on the plane with us. Like and it's all fun and games. Sandra is Sandra. Okay.
Oh,
So she's
yeah.
not gonna take a lot of mess, but they're so fun. There's a reason why they cast them on the show. It's not because they're just good strategists, they're really good TV.
They're good TV. I love, you see a lot of the other people are talking about like, "Oh, I don't want to let them down," or whatever. Meanwhile, he's like, "I feel like they're gonna laugh at me if I don't make it this far."
He's gotta live up to the legacy.
You gotta live up
That's
to the
those are
legacy.
big reality TV names and shoes to fill.
Yeah, I have to assume that basically everybody eats this, although we don't see Summer. Like Summer now has matches as well, and we still don't see her being able to start a fire. So I'm not sure if she ever ate the bird. And then actually Roman also has issues with it because he had it in the infamous bear container, which nobody is having issues opening this season. So I don't know what's going on with Ashley last season, but again, I will say, my mom has the exact same bear container, and I tried, and I could not get it
You're like,
open.
it's
So,
hard.
so it is hard. It is so hard. That would be me struggling. Um, but yeah, he puts it in the bear container and puts it like I guess it's in the water to keep it cold, like a fridge. I feel like we saw
Yeah.
people do that last year too.
Yeah.
But somehow it's not like 100% waterproof because water gets in there, and then he doesn't know. Now I don't know much about like, is that bad? Like if you had like chicken and you like put it in the sink and it was in water, don't people do that to thaw it out? Maybe
You
it's
do it to thaw it out, but you can't leave it out there for forever. You know, like I
see, I
think
don't
you
know. I don't know how
yeah.
germs work.
Yeah. I First of all, you leaving it in a pond, like it's already or
Yeah, that's
lake, it's
probably
already
bad.
about like germs and all kinds of other things. I mean, and ideally you're gonna like kill all that stuff with the fire anyway, but it probably looked really gross. Like he probably took it out that water and it was just covered in like like film or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's a decaying bird laying in a laying in the river. I don't know if it looked appealing, but I don't know. What did we call our Dallas counter? Our brother was it brotherly love counter or something like that from Dallas?
Yeah,
Because
but brotherly love is so much better. I think I had just written down Big Brother,
Big Brother, yeah,
but
Big Brother
yeah,
wisdom,
hold on,
yeah.
I did update that because it was popping this episode. So yeah, he's at like -4, or he's at 4, I guess, for Big Brother points because he has been just every single thing that Roman is saying. He's like, nope, that's terrible. Look at him. He's laughing at him. And I think this is another team, obviously, with some tension between Lindsay and Dallas because he's not does not seem to be hyping his brother up very much.
Look, I understand Dallas as far as like how he feels when it comes to like Roman just kind of tripping and falling his way into good stuff happening despite doing things poorly. Comma, but I'm not with Dallas in this episode. Like, I'm my brother's biggest cheerleader. So whenever he is trying to do well, I'm definitely there. Like, okay, he just needs a little bit more motivation. And Dallas has gotten so negative that other families are starting to notice. Like, I think it was Polly's niece
Yeah,
was
Bailey.
like, yeah, Bailey's like, so this sucks. Like, could you not be so negative about your brother? Like, and I think that's the thing, right? Everything is
Was she the
fine
one
until
who literally said something like, "I assume he's a nice person, but"
right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. She's like, I'm sure there's something in there that's kind, but I'm not seeing it right now. And I think that's bad for business. I think you cannot,
uh,
like, again, you don't want to piss off anybody's relatives because people are going to be looking for reasons to target you because nobody wants to just target you outright because you're in a competition. Don't get me wrong. It is a competition. We should be trying to win, but these people don't want to make your loved ones suffer. And so if you give
right.
somebody a reason, they're like, well, look, we just don't think Dallas is good for the game for Roman anyway. He's not that helpful. So we're not going to help Lindsay and Dallas out this round. Like I just really feel like, be negative in the confessional. You don't have to be negative in front of other people.
Yeah, it was funny. We do learn a little bit also more about their family dynamic here. Apparently, his mom raised all 5 kids, like, as a
Single
single
mom?
mom, so
Yeah.
that's pretty tough right there
She's
too.
badass. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So, it's a very interesting dynamic. We had know I think Dallas had written in one of our comments that the Roman's not actually the youngest. They have a younger sister as well.
Mm,
But I guess he's either the youngest brother or the youngest of the 2
younger
of them here.
boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
The younger of the two. Hmm.
So we get a incoming message situation. We're starting this out, and it seems like step 1 of this is kind of a multi-step process here is going to be we're going to be building rafts, and there's one book that contains a diagram or information about the raft building. And there's books all over. That was a little tricky to follow because all the books looked the same at first.
Hmm.
But Lindsay ends up finding the book that has the raft instructions, and it seems like she basically shares it immediately. It's just like, oh, I found
Mm-hmm.
it. Here it is. And they're all kind of copying it down. It's unclear. I'm going to guess that because nobody got too mad at this, that probably most people did look at it and had a chance to see it. But eventually, when it gets to David and Daniel, David takes the book and rips out the page. And he's going to say later that he wants to like literally trace it in order
Yeah.
to when they send the note. But it's like people are a little bit like Michaela and Tanisha are looking at the book later and they're like, oh, the page is ripped out. But just because they kind of say like, oh, I bet the brothers did it, not like they're not mad, makes me think they already saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But I love this little bit again of like David and Daniel, you're always doing that extra little bit to get your brother ahead that is just directly hurting you in the eyes of everybody else, it feels like.
Yeah, ripping that page out is wild. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, like you said, it's if everybody else has seen it, then they're
Yeah.
fine. But the optics of it, it's like,
Right.
oh, it looks like you like jealously guarding this thing, right? Like, this is mine. It's ours now. Y'all can't have it. Because I'm sure Michaela and Tanisha were going back to reference it, right? Like, that's
Right.
why they were looking for the page. If everybody had just copied it down, traced it or whatever, then they wouldn't need that page. But yeah, David and Luke have taken it. And later on, I think there's a moment where Team Polly is like, we're not gonna play a conniving game.
Yeah,
We're not gonna. And David and Luca,
You're like,
David and
yo,
yeah, Luke's
David and Daniel.
family,
Yeah.
David and Daniel are like, yeah, we're not doing that either. We're never gonna. I was like, what are y'all talking about? Everything y'all have done that we've seen so far. Like, weren't you
And
just
don't get me
sprinkling
wrong, I
glass
love
on
it.
the
I
carpet?
love that we have a team like this. I am not judging this at all. I just think it's
No, not at
hilarious.
all.
I
It's
think it's
so
so funny.
funny. They're like working with the most honorable pair. Like, we would never do anything like that. I mean, I'm like, okay, we did
Oh
sprinkle
yeah.
glass on the carpet and try to frame Sandra in episode
Which
one.
and if you can thread that needle with this alliance, I feel like Bailey and Molly are never going to turn against you.
Yeah.
Because they're loyal, they're sweet, all of that. But man, are you not playing the same game here?
See, the problem is sometimes when you are like being a little bit more dastardly and you're working with someone who is not, they're not going to want to be associated with that after a while. Like if there starts to be like almost like we're going to start to like push them aside and ostracize them for their connection to you, then they're going to try to cut ties. And it seems like maybe they should be considering that already because by the end of this episode, people are going to be like, yeah, if we can't get David and Daniel, why don't we just get Molly and Bailey? How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is not good for
No,
the Polly
not great.
Molly Bailey team. I wish
Not
Bailey's
great.
name also, it's got to be like Polly Molly and Dolly. Like that would
And
be great.
Holly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Holly, yeah, something
And
like that.
Holly.
That would be great. So we move on to the next part of this competition. Well, actually, first we get a morning update next day. I think it's day 8 or 9. I don't know. I think Eric leaves on day 9, so maybe this is day 8. And
Yeah,
Summer has another hard night, but she's still hanging in there. And this is where we also hear from her. She's a single mom with 3 kids. She knows she'll be underestimated. And this is where Sage, what has happened to Sage? We were told that Sage was going to be like so anti-Summer. And instead, Sage, as it turns out, is like best big brother ever. And he is just like hyping her up. So he's down to -5 points on this list, or +5, depending on how you look at it. -5 hate points, +5 points. Because what is going on? He's just like, I want everyone else to see Summer succeed. She's so tough. I'm like, what is going on?
Yes, this man is the worst at being awful. He's so nice. He's so nice.
So nice.
-5 is so generous. This man needs to be like a -25 at this point. He is, if anybody is riding or dying for their loved one, it is Sage. Okay. He's like, y'all don't respect her. She'll prove all y'all wrong. And guess what? If y'all don't want to work with her, F you. I was like, yes, Sage. And then
I love that.
like,
I love when he
Sage,
tells
that's
his
not what
mom
you signed up for.
to cover her ears.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
F them all.
F them all. Like, hey, man, Sage the MVP of this episode for sure. He's like, y'all ain't about to play my sister. Damn it.
So good. I loved it. But yeah, so like we mentioned, they're gonna have a few minutes here where they're going to pick teams, and we end up getting our teams of, here we go. So
I love how you got teams.
I got my teams. All right. So the instantly it seems like we get Bailey and the brothers are talking and they're like, yeah, we want Polly to work with Luke. It seems like that's like pretty quick. And then also the Doug and Katie pairing is pretty quick, which makes sense based on the fact that we already knew that the sisters and Doug's sons had a alliance. And then it seems like throughout this whole episode, we get pretty much confirmation of alliance with Polly, Molly, and Dolly, and Luke's two brothers. So we've got that going on. And then the only drama here is that we have RJ and Summer's family are kind of talking, and they're like, yeah, do you want to be with us? Meanwhile, Sandra and Nina are like, hey, Eric's open. We're chill. If anybody wants to work with Eric, we're over here. And this is like what Sandra and Nina have been doing the last several episodes, which is trying to kind of they're trying to diminish their target by being like, we are not going to be playing dirty. We're not going to be turning that map. We're not going to be trying to go too hard here. And so they're playing a smooth game here, which does end up getting RJ to work to switch from being with Summer to working with Eric. Is this a good thing? I think on paper they probably thought like, oh, this will be good, but then like, I don't know, you're doing a raft challenge. These guys, like, what, together they're like 450 pounds. Like, this is gonna be
Something
crazy.
like that.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, it's easy to be results oriented now and be like, yeah, like this wasn't a great idea. But I think you're right. I think from like, if you just look at the build of the two of them, like that Raft has to do a lot of heavy lifting, and so like if anything, I think he's probably the biggest guy, definitely the tallest.
I think so.
If anything, he's probably better off on his own, to where he doesn't have to worry about doing the raft and then like making sure that him and another person are going on there. So maybe he would have been better off if he was on a team by himself. Now, of course, that's a little bit daunting because you don't want to have to do the work by yourself either. But
Right.
I think that maybe just having a lighter load to roll with even would be better. But Sandra and Nina will tell us in our exit press, that like when they end up choosing RJ, like they're kind of unsure about it, are they working together? But they also know that with leaving Summer out, it's gonna piss off Sage and Stacy. And so like that's decent for Nina and Sandra socially. They get to kind of like we didn't leave Summer.
Right.
RJ's team left Summer. And so be mad at them. Don't be mad at us, and so just another way for them to kind of socially integrate themselves more while other people are making social errors. So it was a very interesting moment.
Yeah, for sure. We don't really see much about like why Amy and Roman are working together, but those teams pair up. Pretty quiet episode for Amy and her loved ones.
Yeah.
We see almost nothing from them. She eats her grouse, but otherwise not a whole lot.
It's a quiet episode for them, but make no mistake, not great. Not great, because Amy and Roman are the two people who come in last. How did this even happen?
Yeah, so let's talk through this, and I sort of have them. This is a very confusing slide to fit everybody in, but they're roughly in order of how they win. So the teams all go, and they have, I don't know how much time, some period of time to pick out the supplies and draw a diagram of like the raft and everything. We get little snippets from the families about like what to prioritize, and the one thing we hear is like Sandra and Nina and Michaela and Tanisha being like, you need to use all the flotation possible. You guys are the biggest guys. We're giving you these two oil, barrels and like a whole bunch of buoys. And then instantly, Eric and RJ are like, yeah, we don't need this. And honestly, even after talking to him, still unclear about exactly why he didn't use all the flotation.
This is so bad. I was like, as a man, we just get set back so many times on television in front of everybody. And it's like, you got these four bright women just like they're like, I mean, they're locked in. All of them seem like strategically locked in. They seem like they know what they're doing. They wrote these instructions out. Like it seems like they got it all. And then you send it to these two men and they're like, yeah, we don't gotta read this. Why would I read these instructions? What was that about? Like, use these items. What would we don't need none of that. We'll just wing it. And I was like, damn, this is me. I feel so seen and not in a great way. I was like, because it's not that I would ignore instructions, but I just get bored really easy, Mary. And so I'll be reading something, be like, all right, whatever, I'll figure it out. And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. It's basically that. Polly and Luke work really well together. They're first in the water, first to the thing. There's like a little island, and I think they said it was 500 meters away from where everyone is, and there are 5 crates that they'll get to choose from. The crate that they choose is has a bow drill and some fishing line. I don't. I'm a little suspect about like what the decisions were with what they were picking. This to me felt like this was nowhere near the best crate, and so I think they might have just been like, we've got stuff. What do you need? Okay, because I think Luke says that he knows how to use the bow drill, but he's already broken his, or his is wearing down or something, and so he gets another one, and Polly takes the fishing line. I don't really know. I don't know. To me, some of the other ones seem better.
Well, I mean, if you have fire, I guess you don't need the propane stove or the matches, right?
I guess, but I don't know. If it was me, I think I would just take it anyway. I
Look,
think for me, I'm always going to be in the back of my mind being like, okay, I've got something to make fire already. Unless I desperately need something else that's there, I'm thinking, but that is finite. Like we've seen before, people could take stuff, it could get stolen away,
mhm.
you could lose things. And wouldn't it be nice to have a backup fire source?
That's fair. I mean, yeah. I think between the Luke's family being able to use the bow drill, and I think Polly, she has fire. So I guess they were just kind of like, oh, well, here's some things that we don't have, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of with you. I would be so insecure about fire. That would be my biggest, I think it's because we watch so many shows where people struggle to make fire that you and I know that it's so hard, right? We see I think it's is it Summer who's burning through her like all her matches, by the
Yeah.
time this episode's halfway
She's
through.
got a
So it's like,
ferro rod and she's still, using up all the matches.
yeah, so like that's why I'm kind of with you on that one, just because I am that insecure about my ability to stay warm out there. Now maybe this pair or whatever, they're fine. But it is nice of them to leave the propane stove for somebody like Summer who will come in second place. Now,
So this I was unclear because they show makes it seem like Katie and Doug get there first, but maybe I wrote that down wrong. This might be out of
uh,
order.
yeah,
Unclear.
I think Summer gets there second, if I'm not mistaken. Because she's lapping
It was close
everybody.
between. Yeah, she is, and we find out. Tell them what we heard in the exit interview because this was wild to me.
Yeah, she started after some of the other people. It's like she was after RJ and Eric for sure, and she just like
And she
just
gets all the way there, and apparently, after she gets to the boxes, to the crates, that they told her like, "Oh, there was a clause in the
you had to use four
challenge where you had to
logs.
use 4 logs," and she had basically just strapped 3 logs together and used it like a kickboard and just
Yeah,
swam out there, and so she has to go all the way back, add another log, and come back, and she still comes in either 2nd or 3rd place. It was wild.
crazy, crazy. See, had my girl Davina lasted like an episode or two, we would have seen this from her too. Okay, like I'm just saying, let's not underestimate these blonde women. Okay, let them cook.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like we knew that
We
Summer
knew,
was killing it.
we did.
So yeah, the hardest part for Summer is the fact that she thinks, "Oh, nobody likes me and that's why I don't have a pair or nobody likes my parents." And it wasn't really exactly that. I think this was just a classic case of her being underestimated. They're trying to pick, who they think would be the best, and I think this is we hear a lot of the people in HQ say after this challenge, like, we learned a lot today from watching watching the behavior of everyone, watching the urgency. And Summer had a lot of grit that she was giving in this challenge.
Absolutely. If I need to pair my loved one up with somebody out there for a challenge, I'm definitely looking at Summer as one of the people to beat. It's like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
well, I know she's not gonna give up at the very least. With her
Right.
having to go back and do basically swim that thing twice. Yeah, I think for that, I mean, we see what happens. Eric swam it once and with a partner. I mean, didn't even swim it. He rode it once with a partner. Now that it didn't go great, but by the end of this episode, Eric's like, no, that was enough to take me out. We saw Summer. Well, we know Summer did it twice, and look at her. Look at her go. So yeah, I was like Sage in this episode. Like I was like fist pumping. Like yeah, Summer. Like okay, this was a good episode for her for sure.
Yes, it was a great episode for her. So she gets her propane stove and matches. Katie and Doug, I don't know what they're doing. They're chit chatting, they're having fun, they're getting to know
Okay.
each other, and they've got
No,
the
I wanted to
hottest
talk
mess.
to you about this.
Uh,
I wanted to
uh,
talk to you. I need
Okay.
to talk to you about this, Mary. We talked about Katie. She's a yapper like us. She could not wait to get to a human. They're like just lollygagging and talking. Mary, this wouldn't be you.
I mean, I think it would be, but I think I'd also be trying to put a little more effort in. But yeah, I mean, I love this. And then here's the thing. I say this a lot. There's no way to say this where it doesn't sound weird, but like people in like Doug's demographic love me. If I'm like in a grocery store, if I'm in like I get along with like the dad uncle type men. Like that's the type of people I get along with. And I'm always, I hang out with the people on my running team. It's because the pace that I run is the same as like 50 to 70-year-old men. So that's what I anyway. So no, I get this. But to me, they had what appeared to be the worst looking Raft. Like Katie is just sitting up front and then he's like swimming off the back. Like, what is going on? I don't know. And this was another great one of just Sandra and Nina like sitting back and commentating and making all of the HQ people, basically all the loved ones, are just making fun of this whole challenge. Like watching
It's so funny. It's so funny.
It's great.
No,
I did
you're a
love
tough
them.
lady. So I know the tough older gentlemen are like, yeah, like you can hang with us, like Mary's good. But Mary, you and I have even had moments where we'll finish podcasting, like, oh, we got so much to do. And then an hour later, we're like, still talking. I was like, how did we end up in this moment? Like we have stuff to
Chappell, an hour later, we talked for like 2.5 hours after
do. We did. We really did. And so like that's why when I saw this, I was like, Mary better not come on here and be like, what's Katie doing? I was like, she's doing exactly what we would be doing.
But
Yapping.
that's true. But I also feel like you gotta like build the thing, and then when you're in the water,
And
that's
then
when
you
you
can
can
talk.
chat.
Oh my God. They would have to take our mic off in the water. Like, all right, y'all, shut up. We can't hear the
Shut up.
voiceover.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's so funny. Then we've got Eric and RJ who don't come in last, but they are not doing well. Okay, so strike one, they ignore the instructions. Strike two, their raft is terrible and it's falling apart. Their 4 women back home or back in HQ are so frustrated with this whole thing. They start sinking. They are sitting back to back. Paddling. Wait, here. Let me do this so we can demonstrate. We're gonna go that way. Here we go. They're paddling back to back, and so they're just spinning in a circle. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it is amazing. Nina says that Eric needs a bossy woman, and he's got one, but unfortunately, she's not out there with him at the moment.
That's so real. I felt that in my soul. Yes, please boss me around. I don't want to make decisions. Just tell me what to do. Tell me where to go.
Nina says the lack of urgency is astonishing with them. and this is something that they talk more about in the exit interview. So definitely listen to some of that. It's funny.
Yeah, just watching Nina on TV, she's like a very like task oriented person, where like she's not emotional like that. She's like, I got things to do, and then we'll deal with the emotions and stuff later on. Like you could just tell, and I'm sure they balance each other out, right? Where he's probably a lot more grounded and emotional and like kind of like more like less task oriented and probably a little bit more chill. And so, yeah, he needs her to be like, no, do this, and do this. And he could probably execute it. The problem is she did do that. They just did not read. Well, maybe they didn't think they needed to teach them how to row in the letter.
Never assume that someone knows how to do a simple task.
That is real. So real.
Also, I was a little confused by some of these prizes. So, when Katie and Doug, Katie gets fishing line, Doug gets a snare, RJ gets a snare and gloves, and Eric gets a mouse trap. What are they? Is the mouse trap like to then eat a mouse? Like, what is the point? I'm confused.
I think they're gonna eat the mouse.
Okay. So what's better, a snare or a mouse trap?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what could
I'm guessing the mousetrap is easier to set up.
Well, yeah. I mean, look. Well, a snare could catch something bigger, obviously bigger than a mouse, right? Like, so, like maybe if you saw like a small rabbit or a squirrel or something like that, I'm sure they would evade the mousetrap. But yeah, it was interesting to me that like the other boxes had like 3 or 4 items in them, right? Like, so the mousetrap, the snare, and the gloves, and then you had another box with the toilet paper, the fishing line, and the snare. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, but like. How early into this? They're 8 days in, Mary. How soon before you're like, okay, I'm ready to eat rat?
I think it would take me at least a week.
I would, yeah. I probably would you on that. And I'm not. I'm a person who has never
But
shot. I will eat an animal in a heartbeat. I don't. I'm sorry. It sounds awful,
I
but I
think,
would. I would, but not. I
yeah,
wouldn't be
we're
that
not we're not
ready to.
vegetarian.
I would go with
I
snare before mousetrap, just because it would make me feel like, well, maybe I don't have to eat a mouse per se.
Here's the thing. Um Over the holidays, I caught no fewer than 8 mice in my attic. Now, these are
Okay.
teeny tiny. These were not, I know people are like, "Mary, you got a problem. You got an infestation." No, it was cold outside. They all came inside, okay? They weren't
Like, don't
bothering me.
judge me.
They went to my attic. It's fine. They weren't even downstairs. It was every day I had to put a new mouse trap and catch a new one. I felt bad, but that's life. They can't I have a rule in my house. If you're bigger than a nickel, you can't stay in. So
Hmm,
they
hmm.
had to go. But I had to like pick those up with a glove and sweep them into a little bag and throw them away. I think for me the hard part with the eating the mice is not like the killing the mice part, but when they were eating that grouse, it's like most of us have seen like roughly what a plucked chicken looks like or whatever.
Right.
Feel like I would more or less know all the pieces and know what to do and know how to cook it. I don't know that I would know or feel comfortable like skinning a rat.
Could could a mouse be bait for something else? Could you use it to catch something bigger?
Like what?
I don't
Like a
know.
fish?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think a fish. Maybe not. I don't know. I've never look. I have never
Do
been
fish
outside.
eat mice? Would a
I don't
fish
think
eat a
fish eat
mice?
mice. I don't think. But I'm like, what about a bigger animal? Like, could you like? Oh yeah, I
I
got
don't
this
wanna
mouse trap.
now
I got
we're
this mouse.
okay, but I don't even know that I could, like, cook a rat. How am I cooking something bigger?
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use this mouse to trap a snake. Like, you know, like what are you gonna
I don't wanna
like
eat a
what eats
snake.
mice? An
Speaking
owl? Like what eats mice?
We skipped over it earlier, but speaking of eating things, Polly ate the heart of the grouse and said it was really good, so
Yeah.
I see, I think the thing is I don't know that I would been confident to know that I could do that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely not gonna actively go to eat the heart. But if you told me like, hey, this mouse heart or this grouse
This
heart,
mouse
this grouse heart tastes really good. You should try it. I'd probably try it. Now the internet, I'm just looking up on the internet. It says mice can be used for bait as for fish like bass and catfish. They're known to eat them,
Oh.
especially live. Now I don't know if that is the goal
Mm.
here, but I would definitely sooner use it as bait than I would try to eat it.
See, I think the problem with the bait thing is I'd be afraid that if I had, like, a dead animal, that it would attract a bigger animal that I don't want by my campsite.
Mhm.
So I think
Well,
that's my bigger problem.
well, the internet definitely says live bait the mouse would be. So technically, it would be alive, and you just put it on your fishing line and see what happens. I don't know if a fishing line is gonna be strong enough. This seems like a bad idea. I don't think I would take the mouse trap. Give me the snare
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
gloves. Definitely the
Unless
gloves.
unless we're overthinking this and the situation is just that there's, like, mice crawling all over them at night and they're just trying to keep the mice
Like
away.
exterminate them in the
Yeah.
woods.
Maybe that's what they were thinking about.
If you're bigger than a nickel, you can't stay in my camp.
Yeah. And that rule stands for mostly spiders, but also anything else. Roman and Amy, they build a big raft with a lot of stuff. Basically, they appear to just do poorly. The only thing we hear is that like maybe they were given too much and they just didn't know what to do with it. I honestly was kind of unclear why they did so badly.
They did really bad. Like they did really bad. If Summer was basically able to go and come back and go again, and they come in dead last, I don't know. Is it like did they just like lose their paddle or what? But yeah, this is not good. We talked about how the water challenges really do separate people because you get wet, but everybody got undressed, so that was a good
Mhm.
look. So it didn't look like like we didn't hear anybody being like, "Oh, I'm so sad I got wet," but they had to burn way too many calories over the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for the grouse, I think they'd be dead.
It's definitely possible, and we heard from RJ in the comments, on our last video that, like, a lot of these hikes to the challenge areas so I think I was underestimating it before because I was just trying to guess based on how far they might have gone, because,
Mhm.
again, I was saying, like, if you have the option to opt out of a challenge, especially one where you're only winning a potato, that, like,
Mhm.
opt out because you're nowhere near going to get more calories than the amount you're going to burn, assuming, and I had assumed that they were going like 2 miles away or something. And
Yeah.
RJ says that a lot of times the hike to the challenge was at least an hour round trip. So that's probably roughly 2 hours there, or 2 miles there, 2 miles back, at
Yeah.
least for an hour long walk. So anyway, very rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they certainly are burning all kinds of calories that they don't have the ability to afford to lose.
And then you could see like, you know, like Dallas is still dunking on Roman here. I put in my notes, Dallas is the polar opposite of Sage. Like
Yes.
Sage is like, I will go, like I am going to ride or die for my sister. There's nothing y'all can do to stop me, like from talking about, like she's the best, and all of y'all suck for not even picking her. We will prove you wrong, you know. And then Dallas is kind of like, like look at him, he's so dumb, he messed this up. Yeah, this is bad. They get nothing. They did all of that for nothing. If you could opt out of this one, this is definitely a challenge you opt out of if you're going to do this poorly. Now, obviously, they didn't think they were going to do that poorly, but they did really poorly. And then I guess they also didn't know that if they came in last, they would get nothing. Because if you at that point, once at the point where you look like you're coming in last, just turn around and go home.
Yeah. Yep. Just do that if you can. And we've heard from some of the other ones. Summer, Amy, and David from Team Luke all gave us some more information about like the whole lamp battery situation. We kind of guessed this, but none of the survivalists knew how long like their batteries were going to last. And it does seem like 1.5 to 2 hours round trip for that hike as well. So that kind of gives us some idea if we went back to look at see like what percentage they had, because Summer said that she barely made it back and then her light went off last time. So yeah. Any other thoughts on this portion of the challenge before we get the fallout? I don't know if it was worth. I honestly don't know if it was worth it for any of these prizes.
Oh,
maybe
Summer needed that fire. Summer definitely needed that fire.
Yeah.
She definitely needed fire. As far as everything else, I think the people who came in first place, it probably wasn't that hard for them. So Luke and Polly just kind of killed it. So I don't think it, but I think everybody else, yeah, they really walk away from this at a deficit. I don't know if it was good for anybody else.
The other thing is that RJ is kind of bummed out by the whole performance and everything, and this was something that was not great, which was Tanisha saying that part of the reason they had chosen Eric was Eric seemed to be like really positive, and that was thinking that the two of them being together might motivate RJ a little bit more, but it seems to have backfired on both of them because Eric used up all his energy and is like not happy either. And so yeah, I definitely don't think this was a moral boost that they were hoping it would be.
But I understand the premise, right? Like, so at first I was like, yeah, they're so big, and so you don't want to put them together. But at the same time, RJ was just being like, I just need some positivity, I need some love, and it's like, okay, Eric seems like he's not going anywhere. He's Team Sandra, so we know she's never pressing the buttons. So maybe the two of them can kind of hype each other up, So I get where they were coming from here, but yeah, it wasn't good. And like RJ probably didn't love this, but Eric's going to take this way harder than anybody could have foreseen. This is him falling so far into I'm pretty sure we had him one of the higher tiers that he is going to go from basically, as far as we're concerned, to moderate to extracted in one episode.
Yes, pretty much. So just kind of going through some of the other people. Luke, the benefit for Luke this episode was that he doesn't know it, but his brothers have put him in alliance with Polly. I guess they work well together. But yeah, Bailey explicitly says like she doesn't think $250,000 is going to be worth being conniving. I would love to know, where in the world do you find these people who want to go on a reality TV show but also don't want to be conniving at all? Because I just cannot relate.
And they've existed since the beginning of time, Mary. That's the other part about this. As many reality shows we've watched, there are so many people who are not like us, who are just like, no, I came out here for adventure and I'm not willing to lie. I'm not willing to backstab. I'm more close. Like, what? It's funny. I said, like, I haven't met these people yet. I find them on the TV, and then all the people I'm around.
Met them in real life.
All the people I'm around are like, I'd slit your throat, and then like you'll still vote for me to get the money at the end. I was like, maybe we're the problem.
Maybe we are.
Yeah.
But you know what? But we're keeping the shows on air, so there's
Yeah,
that.
for sure, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, then we've got I would say pretty neutral episode for Katie. I don't think that, she had some fun. She chatted. Maybe, honestly, probably should have put her with either Eric or RJ if either of them needed a boost.
Oh
Because
my
I think,
god.
she would have at least provided some social activity. So there's that.
Absolutely. And
Um
Katie seems like she knows what she's doing too, so I wouldn't be shocked if that would have been good. But she's already so they're in lockstep with the brothers.
Yeah. Yep. And then let's see, who do we have next? We've got RJ. Not great for RJ. He's still hanging in there. Um he was on like the brink of quitting last time and is still there, so that's good, but doesn't get a whole lot out of that challenge, doesn't get the
Mhm.
boost, and we don't see any issues between Michaela and Tanisha this episode, really. But we do get at the very end of the episode, Dayton and Alec are talking with Emily, and who's one of Katie's sisters, and Tanisha is also in that conversation. So it looks like Tanisha might be sort of being pulled into this alliance too, at least.
Yeah, and this is good for RJ because he's kind of been on the brink of maybe getting extracted. So maybe they can, but between the three teams coming together, maybe they can just start to help each other and start to kind of whittle away at the people who are in the lead right now.
Yes. Great episode for Summer, I think.
Great episode for Summer, but I do have a question. Do you
Mhm.
think all of the effort that she exerted in this episode is going to be bad for her in the long run? Because she did get a lot done, but I mean, I could just imagine how hard that was.
I think the thing is that Summer and by extension Stacy and Sage were being looked at as, oh, she's going to be weaker, so we don't want her on our team. And I think she's proven to everyone that actually she would be a good person to work with. I don't think that she is like a number one target that anyone is going after. I think there's still bigger targets in front of her, but she has at least pulled herself out of a situation of being like a detriment if they ever have situations like this. Because the thing is that for some of the teams, like clearly, Bailey, for example, is going to have more like respect for Summer. What was I trying to say about Bailey? Basically, I think that some people like Bailey is not going to get rid of Summer because she's doing well,
Mhm.
and she's doing better. But I think that she might look at her as like, oh, this might be someone that we would want Polly to work with or something. I don't know. I
I'm
think that this was good for her.
I'm concerned. Not
Mm.
so much about the amount of about the amount of effort that she put into this. I mean, between this and the nighttime, thing they did last night, like I feel like they should be so tired by now. But I'm concerned that Stacy and Sage don't seemingly have an alliance. It feels like everybody else is aligned with somebody, and being the odd person out at that point, as good as Summer is, when the alliances start looking out for each other, I don't want her to get left out of that.
Yeah, that's right. She's not really being pulled into an alliance. I don't know. I see Summer being like a but she might be the person who's left over when all the other teams are going at each other. Like we've
That's
sort of
true,
got two
right?
bigger alliances forming, and so if one of those bigger alliances, takes the other one out or they both take each other out, I think Summer's in an okay spot here.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think
think what
that's
we've
ideal.
seen is that she is strong enough to be by herself, which is fine.
Yeah, I think it's ideal if they start fighting each other and just kind of forgetting about Summer. But I think that if they're starting to pass out things to each other, she might get left and kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. Um I think pretty decent episode for Doug.
Solid. Yeah. Alec
Yeah,
and Dayton are solid. They're making an alliance.
they're
Doug did
making
a great job.
plans. Doug did a good
Yeah.
job, so I think we're good here.
Not the best job because there was Katie and Doug were so slow, but they
They
did
were
it.
so slow, but I think they had fun.
Yeah.
And isn't that what's
They
isn't
definitely
what's
have fun.
important? Yeah, and then we've got, let's see. Okay, Roman,
Not great.
not great. I think that this is what's worse. See, this is the worse than the Summer position, because the Summer position is
Mhm.
I did well, but I'm not included in the alliance. And Roman, and I will lump in Amy to this too, is we did not do well and we're not being included in the alliance.
Right. And so they should align. Like
They
It's
should.
time for They should align. Yeah, these
I'm
people should start
afraid that
working
maybe
together.
their loved ones will say, "Okay, well, they didn't work super well together, so we're not gonna touch that anymore." But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
not the best episode. I'm gonna need both of these teams to kind of show me something, turn around a little bit. Otherwise, I'm afraid they're gonna be the next couple to go.
Roman didn't eat the grouse either. So like he did not only did
Right.
he not eat the grouse, he had the nighttime stroll like everybody else. So he burned a lot of calories with that. He burned a lot of calories with this, and he's not eating. So I think we should be watching Roman a lot more closely than some of the others for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be iffy here.
Hmm.
Um, and then we've got
Our
okay,
extracted team.
our extracted team. So after the challenge, the next day, morning of day 9, Eric's feeling bad. He um basically starts asking Nina and Sandra to take him out. Sandra's nowhere to be seen. I don't know. Maybe
Nah,
she went to go get lunch. Who knows? She's not around.
unbothered.
I don't think it
Hmm.
would have changed anything had she been there. But I, presumably Eric is talking for quite a while about wanting to quit because he gets to a point where Nina is like, no, definitely not. To Nina's crying and doesn't want to see him, beg any longer. So
Yeah. To me, it's very easy to say I would not extract you, but I think when you're like looking into the camera, being like, "Take me out of the game now." We've seen that with so many competitors in both seasons now, where they will literally be like, "I'm not playing the game anymore. Take me out. Take me home. I want to go home. I quit." Um, you can only ignore that for so long before you start looking like a heartless person. And so like the other people in HQ can hear them too. So they're like, all right, like any second now you're gonna, because we're kind of tired of hearing them begging, So it's like you have to make a move. We saw the same thing with Annalise, and her mom. Annalise was
yeah,
like, what are we gonna do? Just let her sit there and cry all day? Like we have to get her, or we're just gonna look awful because she's not going to win. She's already decided she's out. Now this, of course, pulls at Nina's heartstrings. She knows the game. She knows Eric. She's like, hey, if he says he's done, he's done. Let's go get him. Sandra does not move until the last second. She finally gets up in solidarity because she maintains, I'm not pressing the button.
yeah. And I appreciate that from Sandra. Stand by your gun. She's not doing it. This is maybe why the show should have the, two keys turn at the same
Yes,
time situation.
yes, because they'll
But that
fight.
they'll fight. I want to see that. I think what we've seen from extracted is that
Extracted.
there's a couple different ways that someone gets extracted. The most common is this, right?
Mhm.
The person, the survivalist is just like, please take me out, please take me out. They basically sit down and say, I'm done. And they just keep asking over and over until they eventually get taken out. Very occasionally, this happens over a slightly longer period of time. If they're like right in the middle of getting a supply drop or something, maybe they'll go get their supply drop, they'll think about it, they'll take it,
Mhm.
and then they'll say, or if they have a survival trial, and then they'll say, no, actually, this didn't help. Please take me out. That's like option one. Option two is the survivalist doing completely fine, and for whatever reason, the people at HQ quit. That's only happened well, one time that I can definitely think of, possibly more than once. But that's like the second option. And then I guess the third option would be like they ask to be or they start feeling bad, but I think what you hope is that they start feeling bad but then turn it around somehow.
Mhm.
But that's hard to do if you're the one just sitting there telling the camera like I want to be extracted, I want to be extracted. I don't know that you're going to turn it around on your own.
Right. Nor do you want to. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my favorite is the one where the people are like, they're dying, but they're like, I can't let you down. I can't do it. I can't. Like, it's like, okay, because now I have to make the judgment call. Like, they won't actively say extract
Right.
me, but
Right.
like I hear you weeping, through the night. Like now you're putting the onus on me to make the decision. That's my favorite version of this because to that point, that makes you question everything, right? Like they're not actively saying it, but how well do you know your loved one? Are you
But
willing to go out there and get them, even though they're like maybe they
and
need
here's
that
the
extra
thing.
push?
Chappell, if I do not say, Chappell, please, Mr. Chappell, please extract me, then do not extract me.
Right.
I did love when Eric was saying, Miss Nina, please, I would really love
Please.
for you to hit that button.
Right.
The other thing is he pulls out the big guns. He says, Nina, I just keep thinking of this quote that you told me. Is this the decision which will make me the happiest? And she's like, oh, he's quoting me. He's giving me,
Yep.
he's throwing
He
my
said,
own
"Come get
words
me.
back at me.
Come get
Um,
me.
and I
Come
mean,
get me."
the thing that I think is fair, and this is the reason why most people will quit anything, is that any kind of competition, game, sport, whatever, is that they start thinking, well, I'm not gonna win. Everyone else
Yeah.
looks stronger. Like I'm not going to win. So if I'm not going to win, why am I still here? Why am I pushing further?
What do you think about that?
I mean that part I do relate to, because the only thing I have ever quit is a race that has no finish, where you just have to decide if you're done. And I know I'm not going to win, and so at some point you start deciding, am I going to be happier to run a little farther or to just call it quits? And most of the time I've just quit. So,
But that's the
but
thing. You've only quit the race that doesn't have an ending that just determines it. Like
yeah, I've
you're
never
just
quit a
basing it
race that
off
does
of
have an ending.
right. But you haven't won every single race that you've done,
Yeah,
right?
but it's about the clock. It's about finishing, you know?
Exactly. So
So,
maybe this is the same. Maybe it's like, okay, I'm not gonna win, but isn't it about like the journey? And listen, I'm saying this as somebody who will never even go outside. So it's like you don't gotta worry about me even being in this situation. But you make it an episode or two more. Maybe you get some other opportunities. Maybe you get some endorsements, some Instagram followers.
I think it just depends. I'd have to be so miserable, because I just wanna win. I like to prove myself. I'm like Summer.
See, and I
Um,
like to go home. So I would have been
yeah,
like Eric, like, all right, y'all, come get me. And don't make me beg either.
yeah.
Like, I said, come get me, come get me. Once I said the words, come on, it's time.
It does seem like everyone is pretty surprised that Eric is gone. David does say that he feels like a weight was lifted a little, because while their other competitors left, nobody is quite like them. And then that's when we really turn into Doug's son saying, like, I've got a plan. And their plan is we're going to target Polly. What? Now, I'm a little confused, because I feel like, yes, Polly is seeming strong, but why not just target Luke? Why are
I
we
don't know.
targeting Polly by proxy?
I don't know. I don't know if it's that because Luke's target is so big that somebody will get him. And it's like Polly is more likely to slide under the radar, and it's kind of just like with the goodwill from Molly and Bailey, just kind of like, she's going to be like, Polly's a tough lady. Okay. So it's going to take a lot to take her out. And Molly and Bailey are going to play the game kind of like on the level. So it's like they're easier targets, whereas Luke's
Yeah.
family is going to fight back. They're going to be trying to put up like they're playing the game hard. But Polly's almost like a sitting duck right there, and they don't know that Molly and Bailey are like strategically aligned. They know they're good with that
Right.
they are aligned. They like it's very obvious that they're working with the brothers. But I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Mary. I thought the move is definitely go after Luke. He's so far ahead of everybody. Like, don't y'all? You should all be pointing your guns at him.
Yeah. That's what I really think. Um, then again, maybe they watched last season and saw the ending of that one, and they're like, I feel like these twins are probably going to have more of the twin telepathy to be able to, give the 4-digit code or whatever, compared to
Oh my
last
god.
season.
I, every time we talk about that, I think there's no way we're gonna do that again, right?
I hope not. But I think I mentioned this last time, or I think it was 5 digits. I did survey my family, and we all had the exact same word that we would have picked for me. So I think I would have
What-
been fine.
and it wasn't frail.
It wasn't frail, no. But anyway,
That's
I just
crazy to
gotta
me because I would
gotta
be in
keep
there
that one
like
secret.
frail, Mary, it's
No, I
frail, it's
would
frail,
never, I would
trail,
never guess
trail,
that.
frail. I would just be in there just wrong, 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 wrong.
Yeah, it's okay. So for the next time on, though, Polly and Bailey are both crying. It appears to be potentially that same sort of situation. We see a steak, so I think this might be one of those, like they did with the bread last time, of like
Hmm.
there's some food, they go in one at a time, kind of thing. And all I know is that we hear RJ talking about taking all of it. So
It'd be tough for me to pass up on that steak, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
it looked good. It did look good. It
It
had like a
looks
little
so
pat of butter
good,
on it. It looked delicious.
right? That you get me every time you throw a little compound butter on some steak. I'm there every time.
Yeah, it looked really good. So we'll see. No obvious hints at who might be extracted next, unlike this episode. But shall we really quickly go through our tier list? Hit the
Yes,
button at the same time. There we go.
it's all good. I think there's not a lot of motion here, but We do have, obviously we have to move Eric from
Or
the
Eric.
middle
He
of
was all the
moderate.
way in moderate.
He was, yeah, he was doing it, but like that's why I say it only takes one or two little things to kind of sit you over the edge sometimes. And I think, Mary, that's something we talk about with Sandra and Nina, is that their questioning is, if they had fought harder for Eric to get more stuff, would this potentially, like, would the outcome have been different, right? Because they've taken so many back seats in giving out the stuff that
Yeah.
maybe had he had one or two more things, this wouldn't have hurt so bad.
And I think on paper they played it right, but they played it
Mhm.
right if Eric was going to basically be self-sufficient and just be like, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with not with I need to understand that I may not be getting everything from my family on this one.
Mhm.
I think they were playing the long game here.
Yeah, I mean, had it not been for this disastrous Raft thing, I think Eric would still be in a good spot. So, they're probably
Yeah.
right. Okay. Now, what are we doing? Who are we moving around? What do you got? What are you thinking?
So I think RJ's still probably close to the bottom here. I might move Doug up. I think he's doing better. And I'd
I
probably
want
move
to.
Amy down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Eamon and Roman. I'm sorry, neither one of them. Roman hasn't eaten it at all, and he just lost that challenge really bad. I want to move Summer up so bad.
I would do it. I think Summer moving
Yeah,
up is fine.
she deserves it. If nothing else, she could get extracted next episode, and I still think she deserves to at least be a moderate after this episode because it was so good for her.
Now, do we feel like Luke or Polly should move all the way up or no?
I think Luke should move all the way up for sure. I think he's
Okay.
even the faking the injury. I think that's good. I think that's
I
good for the
think
game.
I think Polly, while on face value is doing well, I think the fact that we know that there's some teams targeting her is not going to be great.
Yeah. And then what about Katie? Because Doug's kind of low, but Katie's chilling.
Yeah, I think Katie's fine.
Yeah, like we
she's
have
got
nothing to
an
go off of.
alliance. She did well. She seemed to have some energy. I think Katie's fine right now.
Okay, I want to put Roman down in severe with RJ
Okay.
because I just think this was a really bad episode for Roman. I think I'm okay with everybody else. I don't know if I don't know if I feel like we're doing too hard on Polly. Like I don't know if because she had such a great episode too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Polly is good. I just think if we're factoring in the HQ portion, that's the
Mhm.
part where I'm nervous, only
Yeah.
because we know that some teams literally said they were coming after her.
Yeah, yeah, no, agreed. So I'm good with this because I know that
I'm good with
RJ
this too.
is, yeah, he's on the brink of quitting here and there. He had an awful episode. So even though Tanisha and Michaela have now just seemingly joined an alliance with Emily, um, I feel like this is fine.
I think we're good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
That's it for this episode, but make sure you check out our exit interview with Sandra, Anina, and Eric, and continue to leave all of your thoughts and insight from the contestants out there in the chat on YouTube. We love to see that. Anything else, Chappelle? Where can people find you?
Recapkickback.com, youtube.com/@recapkickback is where I do all my podcasting. I'm talking about whatever I want to talk about. I'm also going live on Twitch every Thursday to watch the traders for our traders watch party. And I'll be doing watch parties for Survivor 50 as well. So make sure you follow the RHAP Twitch account to see me on there and more.
Awesome. You can follow me everywhere at Frail Mary and Trail Mary. And as of now, the first 3 episode recap for Love is Blind season 10 is out with myself and Jason Reed, and myself and Jason and Asia will be releasing the next episode probably today, if it's not already out by the time you hear this one, for episodes 4 through 6. So make sure to check that out too. All right, everyone. Until next time.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.